Hi guys, my name is Torin, and today I'm going to be talking about Moana, a series from the Disney Princess category that has kind of caught my attention compared to the rest of the movies. Out of all the Disney Princess movies, Moana was really the one that you can feel emotionally tied to, and that's what you want in a movie. Movie producers are looking to capture your attention with music, tie yourself to these characters with music, and I think Moana does that perfectly. I'm going to go over a quick summary of what happens and then kind of compare it to the other Disney princesses and kind of look at why Moana is above everything else. Why is it one of the better movies that Disney made? The problem with all the other princess movies that I had personally as a critique is that really the point was very unclear. I think in all the movies, it was hard to find the actual plot, hard to find what was wrong. There's so many things going on, and you don't actually find the main lure of the story until later on. Which is why I think Moana structures that a little bit better. There's a little bit more structure in the story. There's a clear point, a clear plot, clear characters, but also that element of surprise at what's going to come in. You actually feel for Moana and what's going to happen to her. This is stuff you're looking for a good movie. When you're looking for stuff for a good movie, you're looking for good structure, good character design, stuff like that, good music, something that can tie you to the characters, make you feel emotional. That's really, really big point of making movies, is to make you feel emotional. And that's what Moana does. Not for me, but I've heard some of my friends have, and it seems that that is what the movie provides. So I'm going to jump into the quick summary, and we're going to take a look at some of the positives and the negatives of Moana, and we're going to compare it to the other movies. So the movie starts out in a very neutral setting. We have Moana, she's a baby, she's listening to her grandmother talk about these monsters and strange things happening on the island, or what's going to happen to the island maybe in the future. And one of the interesting parts here, and this is why I suggest you watch the movie again, is that when you look at some of the posters when they actually come down, they show some of the characters that are exposed later on in the story, which is really interesting. That's why I suggest watching Moana multiple times. Very confusing the first time. Next time is just very good. I suggest you watch it again. So after the dad comes in, kind of interrupts everything. He's kind of the neutralizer guy. He's like, he doesn't want any evil to happen. He's like, this isn't true. Let's just all be happy and forget about it. But while this is happening, Moana creeps out of the tavern, I guess it's called, and she goes out to the beach and she goes to the water. We're not going to talk about the whole scene with the turtle because that was kind of interesting. But real relevance start when the ocean starts to pave way for her to come through the water and get the shell. And these she gets multiple shells. She's walking into the water and she gets multiple shells until she gets to the last point. And there you can see the water coming out in almost a water arc, and it's touching her. It's like almost like a person emotion, like it's giving her emotions, and it's almost personal emotions. So at this time already in the movie, we know that the ocean is not your ordinary ocean. It is something that's communicating through emotions through all of us. Like it's alive. There's something behind this, and we know that this ocean likes Moana. So then the dad comes down and realizes that she is by the water. He gets extremely scared, and that comes from a story later on. But her dad takes her around the town and shows her that this is all she needs. The island is all that she needs, and there's a whole song about that. I'm not going to go over that though, where it talks about this is where she belongs. She doesn't need to go out to the ocean. And this also during the song, it's a time lapse of her growing up. Now, the importance of this song is incredible. It shows that there's an immediate plot in the story, and really you feel that plot right away. You feel that there's a problem. You feel that there's an issue. Moana is torn between going out and finding what's into the unknown in the water, and she's torn between staying with her people on the island. So having a plot this early on in the story can be extremely important when it comes to a good movie. Make it clear what the problem is. Don't trail out endlessly with what's going on and introduce new characters this early on. Just introduce her mom, her dad, her people, and she's torn. That's the important part. So during the song, she finds her grandmother on the shore. The same one, yes, it's the same one who was giving that speech at the beginning about the monsters going to take over the island. And she is kind of doing this weird ritual dance, whatever you want to call it. But it's very clear that that dance has something to do with the water. And she is like almost like communicating with it. Like she's acting like it is a human almost. And Moana is captivated by this. Because she has felt this emotion towards the ocean before, at the beginning of the movie. So ironically, they start dancing together. Both of them communicating in the water, both of them in the water, and they are feeling immersed in who the ocean is. There's a time lapse of her growing up as she's dancing by the ocean, meaning that she's done this for a long time. She's trying to communicate with the ocean. She feels its power and she's immersed in it. Then one day, her grandmother tries to instigate by pulling the reeds aside and saying, "Look, this is the boat. This is your opportunity." But right when she goes, her father catches her. And her father is very concerned at this point. So her dad kind of shows us in kind of unimportant part of the story. She takes us up to this mountain, and at the top of the mountain there's some stacks of rocks, and these rocks represent each chief that has come before him, and he wants Moana to put down that rock and to be the next chief, promise to be the next chief. And of course Moana is not ready for this because she isn't sure yet. So she is kind of torn. This becomes a issue later on. Then we have the song, probably the best song in the whole thing. Probably not, but it was an okay song. And she is in the song. She talks about how she can't. She wants to go out to the ocean, but she can't. And she wants to stay at the island with her people, but she doesn't. You see she's torn in this song. She's torn between going, and she needs to. And her grandma keeps reminding her that she needs to make this decision. So throughout the story so far, we know that the dad and the grandma have very opposite views on this situation. Grandma says, follow your dreams. Dad says, stay where you are and don't get hurt. That's basically where this is going. So now it's her grandma's turn to show her her point of view on this situation. So she takes Moana to this old cave, and where there are a bunch of boats lined everywhere, big boats, small boats, everything. And she explains that these are boats that they have used, they used to use. And Moana becomes so surprised in that fact that they used to be voyagers. They used to be people who loved the ocean. And she's also now in conflict. Why did this happen? Why are they no longer voyagers? Why are they no longer able to go out and sail? Why are they scared? And this is where the story of the dad comes in. So the story of the dad is the dad lost like some random guy in the ocean when he was sailing with him. That's the whole reason he's feeling this way. And since he's the chief, he's making nobody go out, only for fish. So as the movie goes on, Moana is becoming more and more torn. And as she's becoming torn, this is very interesting and a nice technique I think they added in, is that things are happening on the island that are unusual. The fish are getting chased away. There isn't enough food. The coconut trees are melting. There's something wrong. There's something going on. And so this isn't just like this is a bad feeling. Now she's leaning. Now that torn feeling that she's feeling is now being torn away, and she's tilting towards the side that there is something wrong. With these physical events happening on the island, there was a lot of references that her grandma would die, and she did die that night. And right before she dies, she gives her this necklace, which has the heart of Te Fiti in it, and which is part of the story that she told at the beginning. And she says, "Go find this guy called Maui and and tell him to restore the heart of Te Fiti." And she goes, and she says that she's made the decision this night that tomorrow she is going to go. She's going to get a boat and she's going to leave. She's had enough. So her mom actually catches her on the way out, and she is concerned for her, but she understands what's going on. It's not like her father where she's stubborn. She understands that there's something wrong. And so she's sad to see her go, but she's going to let her go. And she doesn't tell her father She just gives him food, and she's off. So I don't really want to spoil any more of the story, but that's kind of the thing I want to focus on in the story. There's a lot of structure, there's build up, there's emotion in this story. It has passion, has heart, unlike the other princess movies. I'm going to say second best is probably Frozen because I don't like Frozen, but I think that there was a conflict, there was a clear problem in Frozen. Not that clear, but it was better. It was better than most movies. I still don't like it, but I think it was a little well more done. I would say in third is probably Tangled, just because there is. I hate Tangled, but there was a there was some kind of they were on the right track, you could say. It could have worked. The idea that they were rejected, they were kidnapped. There was an idea going there, but the whole movie was just like kind of thrown away by the craziness, and there's a lot of stuff that just didn't make any sense. So this video is just my opinion. If you have a different opinion, go ahead and tell me in the comments. I don't mean any hate towards anyone who loves the series, but I do think Moana was the best, and I do think the other ones didn't have that level of depth and emotion that Moana had. That's my point in this video. Alright guys, that's it for this video. My name is Torin. I'm out.